Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here with Flips for Miles. He came on my channel about a year ago, and he's 23 years old. And about a year ago, he was doing, I believe, $50,000 a month in sales, selling on Amazon, mostly with online arbitrage. He was doing about $8,000 profit a year ago when he came on my channel. I'll link that up above and below. Right. And now it's been about a year later, and now his sales are close to $200,000 a month. He's at about 1.1 million year to date, and almost at 2 million for the last 12 months. I'm just really excited to bring him on and talk about his journey, discuss exactly what he's doing for anybody who's new to the channel. What is online arbitrage? What's his actual business model selling on Amazon? And how the heck did Miles go from 50K a month up to 200K a month? And his profit right now is around 20 to 25,000 a month profit in his business. We all love to talk about big sales numbers, and that's why I've always been a big fan of Miles, and invited him over my house last year. I love his transparency. So let's get right into it, man. What's new, man? What's happened since over the last year since you visited the Raiken Profit Palace?
Yeah, so true, absolutely. And thank you for having me on stuff. And it's kind of just been like the first time in my life, at least business wise, which has only been a few years, where I've been focused on the exact same thing. And that's why I've been able to get some returns that far outweigh the stuff I had done in the previous years, because I literally just been dialed in on the same thing now, like the last 16, 18 months on that, which is just online arbitrage. I haven't done any retail arbitrage probably since about that last year when we spoke and everything. So I've just been dialed in, getting better. I got a kind of little group of mastermind friends we do podcasts with and everything, that we've just all been dialed on the same stuff for like a year and a half at this point, and we've all just kind of grown it together and everything. So yeah, just doing as much OA as possible and talking about it on socials as much as possible too.
So for the person who's maybe not exactly sure what OA is, I mean, it stands for online arbitrage. I mean, we've probably all heard of it. What exactly are you doing? What does your business model consist of? What are some things that have changed? What exactly are you doing?
Yeah, so a couple things that have changed. I'll get into what the model looks like first though. So online arbitrage, retail arbitrage is the more common topic. That's the idea of going into Walmart, going into Target, locally or wherever, outlet stores, different stuff like that. Online arbitrage on the flip side is buying from big retail websites, getting them shipped to your house or warehouse, wherever like that, and then sending those off to Amazon FBA right there. So it just kind of, in my opinion, harder to get into, but much easier to grow Amazon business model, basically.
And what are the reasons why you do online arbitrage versus retail arbitrage or thrifting? I mean, I've moved into online arbitrage a lot more, although our models are different, but we'll talk about it because I know you got some tips for me, man. But, why online arbitrage? What attracts you to this business model?
Yeah, so online arbitrage has scalability. Retail arbitrage doesn't, or at least for the type of lifestyle I want to live. Like our buddy Jameson does amazing with it, and he's scaled that. You know what I mean? It's just different kind of from what I'm looking to do and everything. But you can get a lot bigger quantity of stuff online, and that's really the big thing is the quantities and everything. And you can scale it not based on time, and that there's theoretically no limit. Like with OA, it's just as easy to buy 100 of something as it is 10 of something. When with retail arbitrage, there might be limits in stores or just a lack of stock at that store and everything. So just kind of the more scalable option of the two, in my opinion, once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work too. I mean, we're all feeling the gas prices nowadays. I mean, you got to drive to these places. You have to find the stuff in the store. Some stores like Target, kind of frown upon resellers, and then you got to bring it in the cart, check out, bring it home and whatnot. And the great thing about online arbitrage, and I've been posting a lot of pictures, of products that I've been buying online. It just shows up at my door. And a lot of people think well, how is this possible? I thought you could only go to thrift stores and garage sales. Well, there's actually ways to be able to get inventory, and I'll let you talk a little bit about it. You go on to, all different types of websites online. It could range from Walmart, Target, Kohl's. I know you kind of shy away from those big ones now because they're super competitive. I heard you saying in one of your last videos, but you use credit card hacking, coupons, right? Cashback
the
portals.
Big one. Yeah, the big ones is the coupon stuff. Because me personally, I'm looking for stuff that has repurchase potential. So replens, we kind of like to call it in the OA community. And the only reason something would continue to be good, right, can be profitable now, be profitable a month from now, maybe be profitable 3 months from now, is if not a lot of people are finding it. And coupons are a big barrier to entry in terms of finding that type of stuff and making it good for a while. So it's much easier to understand something that's 15 bucks on Walmart that's selling for 40 on Amazon, no coupons, it's on Walmart, it's the biggest site. It's easy to find that, but it's easy for a ton of people to find it. That creates a lot more competition, which supply and demand, it lowers the price theoretically on stuff. While what I do is I buy from some of the more niche sites, like some of the different foot sites, Foot Locker, sites like that oriented. And they have stuff where it's like an item I'll buy is like 40, it's selling for 70, but I have a 20% off coupon. So now I'm paying 32, but the competition that's just doesn't know about those coupons, they aren't profitable, or they aren't as profitable as they want to be as well. And then there's also like some different states are sales, like they have no sales tax on stuff. So if you ship to like Delaware, Prep Center in Delaware, Prep Center in New Hampshire, or anything, you're paying a lot less than people who are in like pretty much most other states that have sales tax that's charged when they purchase through those states, basically.
I heard you talking in one of your recent videos, Miles, that when you source, you practice a method called Storefront Stalking.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought this was really interesting. And I'd like you to touch on this because, again, most people are going to Walmart and Target, which there's obviously money to be made there, but you know, every single person and their mom, you know, buying items and selling from those sites. And, you know, you might be thinking, well, what's wrong with that? If there's a lot of people, it must be profitable. Well, yeah, I'm sure it is. And I'll let you touch on that, but it's also very competitive. There's a lot of price drops, issues like that, cash flow issues with a million people coming on the listings and you're sitting on your inventory. So what is storefront stalking? And also kind of touch on what I said, like, is that true about Walmart and Target?
It's not necessarily that it's not profitable, and I'm not saying you said that. I did kind of misworded that in my head on that. But it's also, yeah, there's just a lack of replenishability on stuff because a lot of people are finding it naturally. So sure, you can make a bunch of money. A bunch of people do great with that kind of stuff. It's just there's not necessarily a compounding effect to building out a catalog from there because it's much easier to find items on there. On the flip side, talking about actually going out and finding items. So yeah, I'm a fan of, it sounds kind of kinder saying reverse sourcing, but it is, they are absolutely synonymous, storefront stalking and reverse sourcing. So you're absolutely right on that, which is basically instead of going to a website and looking for products there that meet your velocity requirements, your price requirements, the stability on Keepa, all that, I will look, Amazon makes all this data available. You can see what other people are carrying in their store. So I can go through using Seller Amp right here and see all the stuff they're carrying. I can see the Keepa on it. So I can see whether it meets my sales rank, my velocity requirements, my stability requirements by seeing the Keepa, and then just price action, and then go out and look for those. So finding listings that are already working for people and then going out and trying to find those property, which is a challenge, definitely.
So you're saying with Seller Amp, and we're going to be doing another video where we're doing actually a live product sourcing and showing the tools we use and how to find it. Well, what Miles does, I'm hoping to be able to replicate it because I do mostly DVDs and I'm always looking to learn new things. But so you're saying with Seller Amp, you can actually go into somebody's Amazon store. Is it a Chrome extension that runs? So we have a mobile app for like in-store. So if you were doing retail arbitrage, and then like a site, which kind of shows the back-end profit calculator. And then, the Chrome plugins on the big part. It'll make more sense when we visualize it in the next video and everything, but yeah, it's basically easier way to look inside someone's catalog and be able to look stuff up a lot easier than you would normally be just through Amazon, which is what I was doing a year ago when we had the last video. That's interesting. I'm actually curious for that video because what my team and I do, because I mostly sell DVDs, I've done over $20,000 just with DVDs in the last month, and I'm looking to grow and expand. And we were talking behind the scenes and stuff, but we do that as well, where we do it more manually, where we find a store that has thousands of DVDs that are rare, because we don't want to go after like the mass produced stuff. It's not profitable enough. We want to find the rare stuff where there's only a couple of sellers. And yeah, it seems like you're doing the same thing, which is really interesting. Now, let me ask you, Miles, what are your thoughts on like hurdles for new people getting into reselling? Because nowadays in 2022, 2023, everybody wants to make money online. Everybody knows that, I made a video yesterday trolling some guy because he was like, you can't make money selling books and DVDs. And I responded back and I'm like, yeah, nobody buys stuff online. E-commerce is dead. The internet isn't popular. You can't make money on Amazon. Nobody shops on Amazon. It's just hilarious because there's so many opportunities. So what are your thoughts with like online arbitrage and new sellers? Is there a lot of hurdles? Is it challenging? Is it really worth it? Yeah, so there's obvious hurdles like there are to making money doing anything. I just think people have their like perception of when they're going to see big results
all screwed up, right? Like you go to college for 4 years and then something good happens, you know, hopefully after that and everything, and everyone wants to quit doing this after a week. It literally makes no sense and everything. And so because with just making money online in general, it's all self-discipline oriented, right? The people who stick around for a while, like you've seen this being around for years, I've seen this being around for years. The people who are posting in 2020 and 2019, like pretty much anyone who's still around is doing pretty well. You know, like almost everyone who's still around, right? And it's just being in the game for a while, you pick up on stuff. Getting to know other sellers is huge, right? Getting in, there's tons, literally, it is free to tweet. It's free to post on TikTok. It's free to post on Instagram. And posting on these sites attracts people who think like you, and it validates your ideas around that this stuff works, that Amazon works, that eBay really works, and everything. So it's really just, I think the big thing is just understanding that it's going to take a while to see results, and then it's pretty easy to do well when you do it for a while and give yourself a chance to have success, which most people don't.
Yeah, I sent you a message last night, and we might as well talk about it a little bit right now because, you know, I think it's really important when you're planning on scaling a business to really plan with actual real numbers. So like I had a spreadsheet and I was planning like, what do I typically spend? What's my sell-through rates? How big my inventory needs to get based on my sell-through rate to scale. And I was just running numbers and I just couldn't figure out how I could actually pay myself, like how to pay myself with my business. And I think my issue is like, even though I have a 30% sell-through rate, I don't know. I just, we'll have to talk behind the scenes more, but it just seems like maybe I'm doing something wrong. And you might be thinking like, well, how doesn't Steve know this? Like you've been reselling for 8 or 9 years, but you guys have to understand online arbitrage is much different than just thrifting. Like I'm used to going to like thrift stores and stuff and spending like $600 for the month and making like 8 grand profit. You know what I mean? Like, for you to make 8 grand profit, like back a year ago, you were spending 50 grand a month.
Like 20 grand a month, 25 grand a month to spend. Yeah.
I'm really struggling, man, to be honest. Like I'm really putting myself out there. Like I'm struggling to understand, like, what advice would you give to people who, you know, are juggling, you know, credit and juggling, like having to reinvest back into products? Like it's really a cash flow game. Like you almost have to make enough to pay yourself, but also to reinvest back into business. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I have actually a couple of views on that actually, one of them I just kind of formulated right now. So, right, the whole goal of doing this is obviously to have free cash flow and everything. Reselling is not a great business for free cash flow. I would recommend honestly talking to some other people in terms of that too. Just in general, I've just always kind of compounded a lot of the Amazon money outside of like June of last year and then February of this year. Pretty much the other times I've just compounded the money because, right, we talk all about like compound interest and everything, and there's like few vehicles that can give you 20% a month the way Amazon can. If you like really are dialed in and on your stuff reliably, consistently, you have control, you can scale it and all. And that's why I just compound a lot of the Amazon money and everything. And because it's based mostly on capital, especially if you're using a prep center, not based on time, that gives me time to do all the content, and the content income is like free cash flow and everything. And that's kind of what it took me like 3.5 years to make anything significant, but it was worth it. And it gave me the network to learn a lot to get the Amazon business to where it is today.
And what do you mean by, like, I understand what compounding means, right? It's one of the most important principles when it comes to investing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But are you just almost compounding your profits into your inventory? So a lot of your profit is held in your inventory?
Absolutely.
So like, because, and let me know if I'm right or wrong here, but with the traditional like online arbitrage seller, is there a strong correlation to how much inventory you have? Like, given that it's quality, good turnover rate, to like the amount of sales? Like, for example, when you were doing 50 grand a month, did you have 2,000 in inventory compared to now you're doing quadruple and you had 8,000 in inventory? Like, does it scale like that? Like, is it the amount of inventory that scales with your revenue considering, you know, everything's good?
Yeah, that's what's beautiful is that the inputs are so defined that if you get stuff that's good, you will see increased results. If you do more, you won't get less, most likely, as long as you're on top of stuff and everything. And yeah, you're kind of rewarded in that, like, it's not like you have clients or anything. You don't have to theoretically, like, I guess, answer to anyone outside of like Amazon and like, I guess, the sites you're buying from and everything. But yeah, in terms of efficiency of money, I'm sure there's people who have really good systems for it. There's a good book, Profit First. Have you read that? I
have, but I think I'm going to have to read.
And that's what my friend Garrett does. And that is, I think, a pretty good system that's used. That works really well. And they've used it for over a year, him and his brother. So I would recommend taking a look at that, definitely.
Awesome, man. Well, what final words would you have? Any advice just based on how you've been able to quadruple your sales? Any advice for somebody who wants to learn more about online arbitrage? They want to get started. Of course, check out your YouTube channel, but any last words of wisdom that you can drop?
Yep. Today, start posting on socials about OA and everything, and start like DMing people, getting to know them, try to find, there's tons of like Facebook groups, we have the Discord, everything like that. And that's really the way to do it, is to meet as many people as possible and just mastermind around different stuff. And you'll learn so much quicker when you can combine a lot of knowledge together. And you'll find people like that are like you, that are maybe your age, or you just have similar interests and everything. Like last Saturday, I got on Zoom with a couple of my friends, and we were all going hard sourcing the same items for 4th of July sales. And that's the kind of thing, is like, right, there's limited amount of capital, there's unlimited amount of product to find, right? So if we combine our heads together to find, we can all dial in on some really good products and do some good stuff.
It's interesting there. Like if you're friends with these people that you meet and their stores and stuff, like you guys aren't going to undercut each other. You like probably all just price match, right? And just share
so it's more so, honestly, it's hard to fill demand on good listings, so like you don't really have to worry about that a lot. Like it's just really difficult to fill demand on some of these good listings. So there's not even much of that, to be honest.
Wow. So it's that crazy. Some of these products you go after.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, we were talking here, like today I'll sell 100 of one ASIN by itself.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. It's funny, man, because I deal with
like
DVD.
Wholesale. Like when you dial in and get quantity, it's just like wholesale.
It's funny because I deal with mostly rare DVDs, and obviously I do books and board games and stuff, but like I was saying behind the scenes, like some of my DVDs only have 5 Keepa drops per month. Like, it's got a 27 e-score. You know what I mean? Like I don't think any of these DVDs sold 100 in a lifetime.
Yeah, like a year or like 2 years. And that's the kind of thing, is that like the margin's a lot worse with OA and everything, but you're rewarded in the volume you can see, because the market adjusts to fill the demand, and obviously people find stuff and everything, but just the volume, it can be easy to scale when you have stuff you can buy. It's similar to why wholesale scales so easily, because you're buying big quantities of stuff.
Interesting. Well, let's get into part 2 of this video. Be sure to like and follow, give Flip for Miles a follow as well. I'll be sure to link your information down below in the description. We're going to do a sourcing video now, so that'll be part 2. So you guys can check that out. I'll link it up when that comes out. So appreciate you guys. Thanks so much, Miles, for coming on, man. And I'm pumped up to do some sourcing with you. Let's get into it.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye.